Welcome to Talent Boost broadcast. During this program, we will learn what the best career fields for the future are in Finland right now. We will also dig deeper into the Finnish work culture, and during the discussion, we will strive to broaden your horizon on the ways international talents bring value to the Finnish work life and vice versa. Through the eyes of international talents already living here. But let's have a look at what to expect. For this broadcast, I have the pleasure to welcome Senior Advisor Mikko Valtonen from the Finland Chamber of Commerce and Talent Coach Francis Oyeyiola from the Vaasa University of Applied Sciences as my guests to the broadcast. We also visited a software company, Wapice, in Vaasa. They have over 20 years of experience in hiring international talents. During the broadcast, you will hear more from them as well. And TE Live is an interactive broadcast, so you can send your questions and comments through the chat function. Our guests are happy to answer your questions. And there are also 3 specialists from the Finnish Immigration Service in the chat answering your questions already right now about permits, so you can use this opportunity and ask them the questions you are concerned about. But please don't write anything personal in the chat. But let's start by visiting Wapice. I had the pleasure to interview their HR generalist Susanna Kytöharju. They have really benefited from hiring international talents. But how? Let's take a look, and after the video we will continue here in the studio with my guest from the Finland Chamber of Commerce. See you soon. Well, to the international students watching this broadcast, what do you want to tell them? What is the value your company sees in hiring international talents?
International employees brings so much to us. Cultural knowledge, language skills of course, international networks, and we also recognize that they bring the diversity brings so much more innovations, and problem solving is also better with diverse teams. So it's very important to us.
And growth, of course, cannot happen without international talents.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough talents of our own in Finland.
True.
Well, how do you help international talents to integrate to your work culture?
Yeah, we have a lot of things we can do. Of course, that we have our company language is English, so it's easier for them, of course, to communicate and understand everything. We can also help them with some permits and taxes and some other practical stuff. If they have some problems with, they can, for example, think that where can I rent apartment or something like that. So we can help and give some support individually for everyone.
Well, what is your message to the international students watching this broadcast?
Well, I would say that you are needed, not only during your studies, but afterwards also. And there are a lot of career opportunities in Finland, and not only in software industry, but all the other industries as well. So we need you.
That is a great message. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And welcome back, and welcome to the studio, Senior Advisor Mikko Valtonen.
Thank you.
Well, we just got to hear what value international talents have brought to Wapice, and they are, to name a few, cultural knowledge, language skills, international networks, diversity, more innovations, and the list goes on, and it's pretty impressive in my opinion. Well, you work closely with employment matters and how companies will get enough skilled labor. the message from Wapice is the same message you have heard from other companies as well.
Yeah, I think mainly it is, and it was really like inspiring to hear how they have benefited, and we hear a lot of the same message from companies. And actually, we have asked from our companies that have like employed foreign talents that what's like how has it went?
Yes.
Are they satisfied? And it's mind-blowing, the results. Only 5% say that they have had negative experiences. So almost everyone are like really happy.
95% are happy.
Yeah, to the foreign talents they have employed.
That is a great percentage.
Yeah.
And we need to hear more about these stories. Well, let's talk about the Finnish labor force situation in more detail. What does the future look for us in Finland?
To be honest, not so good. We have a really big shortage of skilled labor force in Finland, and if we look to the future, it doesn't seem to get any better in near future. Now, when we have asked from our companies, 70% of the companies say that they have shortage of skilled labor force, and half of the companies say that it already affects how they can run their businesses, how they can grow. So the situation is quite bad, actually.
Yes, and that's why we need our international talents.
Yes, that's what we are saying, that at the same time in Finland, people are getting older, we have less people, like working age people, and that's why we need also foreign talents. We need people from abroad to come to work in Finland and also live and stay in Finland.
Well, that's a great bridge to start talking about international students who are hopefully watching this broadcast. So why should employers hire more international students already during their studies?
For the first, it's like really big waste if we get foreign students here, and then really many of those go away from Finland after they have graduated, and that's a shame and that's a waste. We need to get more people to stay here, and if you look from the company side, the companies that like to hire foreign talents, it's much easier to use the people we have already here in Finland, that have been here, studied here, maybe know quite much about our culture, our working life, maybe even language. So it's easier than to try to find new people from abroad. So that's why I would encourage to use the talents we have already in the country.
You are absolutely right. Well, what are we doing? What is the Finland Chamber of Commerce doing to encourage companies to hire more international students?
You actually said the main thing. We are trying to encourage our companies to hire foreign talents, because some companies think that they can't do it. They're not ready. They can't function with multiple languages and so on. But those companies just need a little bit push, a little bit encouraging, maybe a little bit education, some courses or something, or just information how to do it. And that's the one thing we are trying to do, and trying to encourage, get the information to the companies and help in that way. And then also we have some companies that still feel that they don't want to hire foreign talents, and in those cases we are trying to change the attitudes towards try to hire foreign students.
So you are doing a very valuable job with that. So good luck to you and everyone else in the Chambers of Commerce. Well, in your opinion, is there something the international talents, the students can do more self to make them more employable to Finnish companies?
Yeah, I would say the main thing is to be active. when you're studying here, be active, try to network, like grow your network, the amount of people you know here, because in that way you could find your next job, and that's really important thing.
Well, let's talk about the Finnish work culture. Obviously, you and I are both from Finland and we are Finns. How would you describe Finnish work culture to the international students?
I like to think that we have quite fair and equal work culture and working life in Finland, and also in many cases quite low hierarchies, so it's in that way quite easy to come into.
Yes, you are very correct, and that's what's also good about our work culture. I do agree with you that, and I don't think we are very scary either.
No.
Well, where can we as Finns do better?
I think for the companies, what they should do is to try to be more multilingual, like use other languages than just Finnish and Swedish, the national languages. That would be the most important step towards hiring more international talents. So that is the main thing, language, more English, more other languages than the national languages.
And I think we can speak for Finnish people, well, not in general, but for our own part, that the attitude change has to come also from our side. Yes.
Yeah, and I think now when we have so like bad situation that we can't find skilled labor force to the companies, I think that will also help with that, because companies, they have to look like further away, not just the labor markets in Finland.
But it's not just the companies, also cities and municipalities need to broaden what they are doing here. It's not enough that we have jobs available. We have to have other things available as well.
Yeah, because I hope that work is not the only thing in people's life, so there are quite many other things that are important also, and you are correct that we need also to improve the services, the like other things that we get the foreign talents to feel welcome and want to stay here.
Yes. So let's do better, Finland. Well, Mikko, what do you want to say to the international talents watching this broadcast right now?
I would like to say that you are needed, because that's actually that is really the case. We need you to stay here. We want you to stay here. Our companies need your talent.
Yes, and if we still look at the Finland as a whole, we are broadcasting this from Vaasa in Ostrobothnia. This is known as the energy cluster. But if we have students watching from Lappeenranta or even Rovaniemi or other parts in Finland, what is the labor situation there at the moment?
Yeah, the shortage of skilled labor force, it's really bad in every parts of Finland, so we need more talents to almost every place in Finland, and in every field. It just doesn't concern some fields.
Yes.
It's like going through all the fields.
So this is the message to you. You are needed everywhere in Finland at the moment.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. Well, thank you, Mikko, for the interview. If you want to send questions or comments to Mikko, he will continue answering your questions in the chat in writing. And now let's go for another visit to Wapice, and we interviewed their Director of International Customer Relations, Mathias Grädler. And let's see what his career path has looked like since coming to Finland as a student and where he is now. And after the video, talent coach Francis Oyeyiola will join me in the studio.
I came to Finland in 2002 studying at the University of Applied Science to get a Bachelor of Engineering degree. And right after my studies, I started working at Wapice. So I started at Wapice as a software engineer. I soon moved up to a project manager because if you work with customers and you're more extrovert, then people have trust in you and they are very supportive, pushing you to new levels. So after the project manager role, I went to ABB for a certain period of time, 5 years, working in global positions, and then I came back to Wapice, where I was a managing consultant for industrial IoT things, and after that I was director of our innovation, and nowadays I'm the director of international customer relations. Working in a Finnish environment has been very inspiring, but what surprised me most was actually sometimes people might think a bit long to formulate an answer. However, that answer was always greatly then backed up with facts and very well articulated. But this initial period of waiting, that was kind of a bit funny. Wapice has been super supportive during my career, so I had the opportunity to develop myself further, and I was supported with an executive MBA program, which helped me to understand and communicate much more efficiently, also like in an international environment. I think the Finnish work culture is great in supporting people. So this is definitely a great aspect of the Finnish way of working. My best advice for international students is to really contribute with their own ideas, because in Finland you will not find a hierarchical structure. You can actually work directly on your ideas, and if they make sense, if they have a market, if there is a great opportunity, you can capture it and then live your dream from there.
Welcome back and welcome to the studio, Francis. So great to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, I said you work as a talent coach for in the Vaasa University of Applied Sciences.
Yes.
Can you open a little bit? What does a talent coach do?
Well, this is actually a very completely new role in Finland as whole. In other countries, for in the US, Canada, they already have. But basically, my responsibility is to prepare the student to the Finnish work life, and I do this by teaching them how to prepare for interviews, how to write a CV, how to write a good application, which in the US is known as the cover letter, how to behave while they are in the company. So these are my main task and responsibility. Lately, I've also observed that as a talent coach, these are not just the things that needs to be said or need to be done. I've also noticed that a lot of the students, they have issue with who they are as a person. So I've also added a little bit of personal development for them to find out who they are, so that during the interview, it's much easier for them to be able to sell themselves to the company that they are willing to hire them. Yeah.
That is a very in-depth job description, and I think very needed. I think even us Finns would do some good to come and check you out and have you help us with our CVs.
I agree, and for that reason, I also have a colleague that's also worked closely with the Finnish student, and we work together to find a way to support all the students, not just the international, but also the Finnish student as well.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
Good job, Vaasa University of Applied Sciences, and
Thank you.
hopefully other schools are giving same kind of help to their international students.
We also hope that.
Well, here in Vaasa, we get a lot of students from different cultural backgrounds. We have students from Asia, from Africa, from Eastern Europe, well, everywhere.
That's true.
So how do you as a talent coach take into consideration the different cultural backgrounds when you help the students?
I think this is actually quite crucial and quite important, because I personally have noticed that a lot of them often think the way things are done in their countries or in their cultural setting is the same things are done here in Finland. And I've made it as a point to also point out to them that these are two completely different society or community. So partly, recently also been able to educate them. For instance, in Finland, one of the most valuable soft skills that is required in Finnish society is the element of trust and also punctuality, which in most of these countries that you mentioned is non-existent. So these are some of the things I bring up to them so that they are much more aware that they need to change something, some perception about who they are, and start emulating the values that we have here in Finland.
Well, personally, I think that sounds very good, because sometimes our way to communicate and even agree or disagree on things, and especially how we schedule meetings, is very different to other cultures.
That's true.
Even in Western Europe. So that is actually very valuable coaching you are doing.
I've lived here long enough, and I think it comes also with experience. I've had my own fair share of mistakes that I've done. So partly, most of the things I share with the student are what not to do, and for me to prevent them from, repeating the mistakes that I personally did. So, as you said, they are definitely quite valuable experience that need to be shared.
Thank you. Well, you already mentioned trust and how we are punctual in Finland.
Yes.
So how should students take into consideration our way to work other than punctuality and the trust? How deep should they go?
I think they have to be deep, because one thing that should be quite important that they need to be paying attention is to be able to start being present and observant. What do I mean by that? One tip that I usually give them when designing a cover letter is, because personally I've noticed that in in Ostrobothnia, people are familiar with certain colors. So I don't know if I should say this, but I think I have to. They are familiar with color. For instance, the color purple is, as you can see here, is very, very common in Ostrobothnia. So I encourage them, when designing your CV, try to emulate some of this, because as humans, we are much more emotional when making decisions. So if you are able to tap into that aspect, that knowing the person you are applying to, it helps you in a long way, that being able to provide exactly what they are looking for or what they are familiar with. Yes. Can change a lot. Rather than putting like a color of yellow is not known in Ostrobothnia. So if you are looking for a job here, don't make your CV too flashy. I think it might put people off. So be able to learn your environment. What are they into? What do they look for? What are the key things that you can easily see around you? And then try to put them in either in your interview or your cover letter or your CV. So
that's great advice. Yeah. Well, if we think about the international students coming to here to study, they are coming from different backgrounds. Some are fresh out of high school.
That's true.
And some have probably done some studies in their own countries. So how do you help with that cases?
Lately, most of my work is more tailored, meaning that I focus on their background. And as you rightly said, they are actually from different backgrounds. So for instance, I'll give a very good example. One of my student, she fresh from high school, and she came to Finland. She has no work experience. So, and she wanted to apply for job. And without work experience, for her it was difficult. And a lot of this applies to many internationals. They don't know how to present themselves or how to sell their values to the company. So what I advised her is that I asked, what did you do while you were in high school? And it happens that one of the key things she did was that during her high school, they did a project, a campaign to improve the food consumption in their school. So when you look at that in the business term, campaigning is related to marketing. So all the tools that they use is something that's also very similar that the companies also need. So we sat down and I asked her to make a list of what she did, what was her role. So her role became the job title. So in that school, her role was assistant project manager. So that was the title we used. And then her responsibility and the value they were able to incorporate into the school lunch. And that's how we were able to present her. So this is an example that a lot of internationals that are coming right from high school, they can use. So now also most of my students, I encourage them that whenever you participate in projects, try to make a note of what you did, what was your role, what did you learn? Because all this, you can package it and find a way to add value to it and then present it to the companies.
That's great advice, and hopefully you are also making notes there that what he just said. Well, let's talk about networking. Mikko and I just talked about networking as well, and even us Finns, we're always told to network and network, and that's what we tend to tell the international students as well. So what's your take on networking?
First of all, I would say that the word networking is beginning to have a negative connotation. And you might ask why. And I think some of the international I've spoken to, they don't understand that. So does it mean that if I don't network, I won't get a job? And when you talk about only network, it's kind of like you are just asking for something. So for me, I rather like to put an adjective in front of the networking. So I rather prefer social networking. Because social network meaning that we both gain in the long run.
Yes.
But when you talk of networking, it's kind of like from only one side. So I'm able to come to you just to talk to you because of what I want. And I think that's a selfish way to look at it. But when you talk about social networking, even though I don't get job from you, we can be good friends. Go to coffee, you teach me something about Finland, I teach you something about our culture, and hopefully who knows what the future holds. So personally, I rather prefer using the word social networking because the internationals are here to teach Finns and Finns are here to teach them. So it goes, it's
both
a bi-directional, yes. So that's my take on the networking. And to network, there are various ways that you can do that. One good example that I usually tell the students is that in Vaasa, for instance, or whichever community our internationals are, Finland is known for its various associations, these non-profit organizations. Why not go there and volunteer? By volunteering, some of them might think that they are wasting time, but in actual fact, you are like a farmer sowing a seed. People get to know who you are. Remember what I said earlier on? Trust is very paramount. So if you go there, you show them who they are, they get to know you, then it's very easy for them to do what? To recommend you to either potential employer or a friend or someone that could give you gainful employment. So I recommend that networking, volunteering is actually one of my key. Another one is also most of the internationals coming to Finland, they engage in various sport activities. Same thing in all our cities in Finland, there are different sport clubs. Join them. If you play football like me, find a team to join. If you are into badminton, table tennis, just find a club to join and people get to know you and then they will be able to recommend you or tell you, oh, I heard about this job position. I can talk to my friend or this or that. So don't just sit. As Mikko said, you need to be active. And I actually recently have seen that I have some of my students that came from Middle East. He was quite active. Now he's just found a job. And he's been in Finland less than a month.
Well, that is a great
Less
example.
than a month. So if you are active and put yourself out there, yes, you get some no's, but don't allow the nose to kill your spirit. Just keep on moving.
Thank you. Well, let's talk about the level of integration into the Finnish society and adaptation. What's your take on that?
It's actually one of my favorite soft skills that I like to put even on my own CV. I mean, when you look at the word adaptation, it means a lot. It encompasses a lot. For instance, someone will say that, okay, I'm easygoing, I'm flexible. These are some words that are synonymous to it. Adaptation simply means that you being able to sense your environment and adjust your attitude, your character, your skills to suit the new environment that you find yourself in. So as internationals, my recommendation would be that they should be quite observant in their environment, where they live, where they stay, wherever they are. Try to look around, see what are the changes going on. A lot of the internationals, they've lost this. They have not been able to do that. I've seen people who've lived, for instance, in Vaasa for a very long time, and it's still the same personality. Nothing has improved. So that tells me that their adaptation skills is lacking. And this is also connected to what their personal development. You see that something. So being able to adapt means that you also have to look at the mirror and ask yourself a series of questions. Why am I not moving forward? Why am I stagnant? By answering these questions will then reveal to you, okay, these are the opportunities around me. How can I change to fit this opportunity? So these are some of the ways that I think internationals can find to adapt into our society here in Finland.
Well, society in Finland, why are we a good place for international students?
Well, I would say one of the most valuable commodity right now in the world is what? Safety and security.
Yes.
It's the most valuable commodity that, and Finland gives us that. In every society, you cannot get all, but if this is the most valuable commodity, a lot of families are now moving here. The kids are making home now. So why not Finland? We have good health system. We have good social amenities. For the second year in a row, Finland is regarded as the most happiest country in the world.
5th time on a row.
Okay. Thank you for correcting me. Thank you for correcting me. So it means that there is a reason why whoever collected this data came up with it. And I think one of the major reasons is because of our social infrastructure that we've built. So I'm using I because I see myself as a Finn. And I usually tell people that I'm a Uusi Suomalainen because this is a new generation of Finns that are coming up. A lot of international now are Finnish citizens. So these are a new breed of international. So for me, Finland, also the educational system, we have one of the best in the world. So if that's the case, why not Finland? Job security, we have one of the good laws in the whole world that protect people. When you are laid off from work, there's certain way that the state supports you. This you cannot find in many countries. So the list goes on. So, I mean, this is a good place to live.
Well, I do have to agree with you. Well, Francis, you have lived in Finland for many years. Let's not count the years.
Okay, thank you.
But you came here as a student yourself.
Yes, actually in VAMC.
And now you're working there.
And now I'm working there. So, I mean, what's more? It's a full circle.
Well, thinking about those years when you first came here, have you seen a change in atmosphere about companies hiring internationals?
There's been a huge change and a huge improvement. I think the fight we fought over the years, I mean, my generation, those that came early, pushing, letting them, proving ourselves, have actually, a case in point, when I came here, it took me months, even years before I could get something to do. Now look at one of my students I just mentioned earlier on. He came here less than a month. He already found something. So there is, but at the same time, I think there's still room for improvement. That the Finnish employers should give us more opportunity because, to be honest with you, a lot of the internationals, they also want to give back as I'm doing. So please just find a time, trust them, and give them the opportunity, and they will definitely prove themselves to you. So things are changing in the positive direction. So.
And what Mikko said earlier, that 95% of those
Yes,
employers who have employed
yes.
are happy.
Yes, and that's something that validates what I just said. That if 95% of employers are happy, I mean, it's almost 100%. Of course, in every society, you cannot have it all. So if 95, I think it's quite high enough to convince the other recruitment manager or recruitment officers that, look, just give them the opportunity. Moreover, you train them. They studied here. So if you don't give them the opportunity to apply what we've trained them for, then I think we are doing a dissatisfaction to them. So we should give them the opportunity to prove and also to apply what we've taught them in the schools. Otherwise, we're already losing them to other countries, and I'm not happy about it at all.
No, and neither are we. Mikko and I are not happy about
Yes,
that.
personally, I know so many people, they love this country so much that even though they are working outside of Finland, they travel here all the time just to visit we that we've left.
No, but we need them to come back here to work as well.
I hope this broadcast will help that.
This is a message to you. If you are coming here to only to party, move back to Finland. Well, we have to talk about language.
Okay.
I am a Finnish-speaking Finn who can also speak Swedish and English. How has your attitude towards our language changed?
Personally, when I started, my attitude toward the Finnish language was very negative, and I think that goes to all internationals. And the reason is just the way the language is taught in Finland. I always have this illustration. I'm not telling language teachers how to teach their course, but I think if language teachers see internationals as a baby, because once you give birth to a child, you don't teach the child how to speak in grammar, but you teach the child how to just speak. And then later you correct the child where the grammar used to be. So why not we apply the same to internationals? Because most of the things I learned during my Koto course is very, very virally named. That's official Finnish, which I don't use. Because we have the Kadunkiel, which is the street language, and then we have the official language. So why don't we start with the Kadunkiel? Because that's what they are going to use more often. And then gradually we teach them what are the tenses, how to go about it. But when you start teaching me Astevaitelu and all these poikios and all this, I get confused, you know.
Even we get confused.
So if you are getting confused and this is not my native language, so this is why I really would love if our language teachers, our wonderful language teachers, please, if you could just change a little bit the way you present the language to the international so that they can fall in love with the language, and I think that is going to change quite a lot. Yeah. So that's my plea.
I hope your plea has been heard.
I also hope so.
Well, I have one more question to you.
Okay.
Francis, why did you choose to stay in Finland?
Oh, wow. To be honest with you, one of the main reasons why I chose to stay in Finland is because gratitude is something that is very paramount to me. Being able to show gratitude, I think you are able to gain more. It's the same thing like when you open your hand, you get to receive more. So personally, I just wanted to give back to the Finnish society, to give back to the Finnish community, and to let them know that, hey, I appreciate the efforts and the time and money you spend on me gaining education here. As you well know, I have many degrees, and I never spend money compare if I should go to, let's say, US to study, I would have spent, I don't know, $200,000 or more. But here I'm able to get everything for free. So why not stay and also pass some of the knowledge that I've gained to the next generation, and hopefully they also are able to pass it forward. So I just want to give back. My job is not yet done.
Your job is definitely not yet done. Thank you. Let's look at the question that our viewers have sent to us now. Well, just a second, I'm gonna go through the questions here or comments. Let's see. MT has commented here that there is plenty of those who already are in Finland and have higher education but can't get a job because they don't speak Finnish. There should be someone who focuses only on them. Well, we talked about the language skills, and there are different courses available.
Yeah, I think for those people, I think nowadays, for instance, in the Pohjanmaan region, the TA office, they have what we call the job coach that they are actually helping them, and also they also have the various language courses going on that they provide for them. So I think there are resources only if you seek for them.
Yeah. Somebody is commenting here that you should become the next Prime Minister of Finland because they like your attitude.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There are many comments here, but maybe not so many questions here. I would like to hear employers expressing their concerns about hiring internationals and probably their experiences if they have any. Let's open the mystery box and make it transparent. That's a very good comment here. And Finnish companies complains that foreign students don't have fluent Finnish language skills, but the whole social and work culture of Finns is so closed and really hard to break in. There is a limit to how much Finnish language and culture you can learn in the class or through Duolingo. The Finnish society, especially the local companies, must be ready to accept foreigners, and there can be a social networking, as Francis mentioned. There is a lot of, for both parties to gain. That is true.
I would like to say something to that effect. I think this is not a secret that some of the attitude that a lot of the international have towards the Finnish society is actually contributing to lack of employment. And why do I say that? Is because some of the internationals, they've had maybe a couple of experience with a Finn, but that doesn't define the whole society. So that experience alone, in the international community, we talk amongst ourselves. So if I hear that information, even though I did not experience it, they take it on a face value, and they also interpret that, okay, that's how Finns are. And once they start having that, subconsciously start affecting them. So their attitude towards Finns start to become negative. And the moment your attitude towards Finns start to become negative, how can you work with somebody that you hate? You can't. So for me, let your experience be positive. I mean, you are here, yes, even though you are paying your school fees or whatever, but you have the opportunity to have one of the best educations in the world. And I also personally don't believe in coincidence. There is a reason why you are here, or there is a reason why you are living in Finland. You need to find out what is that reason. And that means that you need to open yourself up. A lot of the internationals are quite close. I used to be that. I've done it. And the moment I changed and started seeing things in more positive light, my life actually changed. So to the internationals, please, I'm really begging, start changing your attitude. The way you look at the Finnish society, start having a positive note. You have health, one of the best health, that even though it's not best, but at least you can always get health. You have security. Not many countries that you can wake up 3 a.m. and start working and nobody attack. I mean, there's a lot. So why not rather focus on the positive stuff? Why do you always have to dwell on the negative things? Because once you do that, what happens is that you don't see any of those positive things that's supposed to happen to you. And then you are stagnant.
Yes.
You know, it's very easy to point fingers. But how about this one? So please, I'm begging, they should start looking Finland in a positive light. And by doing this, I think it will change quite a lot. Please.
Thank you, Francis. I'm now speechless after this, and I don't know what else to say other than thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for your valuable comments. We will look at them after the broadcast, so keep them coming. Thank you. And Francis, thank you so much for the lively discussion I've had with
Thank
you.
you very
I would like to go on with you, but unfortunately our time is coming to an end.
I understand. Hopefully we can find a different setting whereby we can, dig deep into some of these challenges and offer them, the international, some sort of resources that could help them benefit.
Definitely.
Yes.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you very much.
Well, and thank you for being a part of this broadcast. And I also want to thank Mikko for joining us today. We have a great and valuable discussion here. And thank you for watching our broadcast. And I hope you have enjoyed our discussion and have learned something new. And we have one more video for you. Next, you will learn in more detail what permits are needed when you are a student and what is needed after your studies when you graduate. So stay tuned and remember that the Finnish Immigration Service, they are answering your questions in the chat still. But for me, I want to thank you and wish you a pleasant and great day ahead of you, and good luck with everything.
We give residence permit for students for the whole length of the studies. This gives students better possibilities to concentrate on their studies and to adjust to the Finnish society. Students can work 30 hours per week at any field. The amount can vary on a weekly basis as long as on average it remains below 30 hours per week at the end of calendar year. Students can work without restriction if the work is part of the degree. This means practical training and thesis work. There are two types of residence permits that are available only for persons that have completed their degree in Finland. You can apply for these permits right after your studies as an extended permit or from abroad as a first permit if you have left Finland after your studies. Both of these residence permits gives you right to work in any field. If you don't have a job when you graduate, you can apply for a residence permit to look for a job or to start a business. It can be granted for maximum for 2 years. You need to apply for the permit within 5 years after your latest permit based on studies or research has been valid. It is possible to apply for the permit in shorter periods. The minimum length is 6 months and all part must be used within 3 years of the beginning of the first part. The income requirement is 560 euros per month. You should apply only for the period that your income is secured. If you already have a job when you graduate and your salary is at least 1,283 euros per month, you can apply for a residence permit for a person with a degree completed in Finland. Even if you have completed your degree in Finland several years ago and have left Finland since then, you may still apply for this residence permit. If you own your own business and you work as an entrepreneur, including freelancers and light entrepreneurs, you need to apply for residence permit for entrepreneurs.